Hey guys, I'm back with another LA related video, particularly my LA food series where I share the best and worst LA restaurants during my stay a few months back. So in this video, I'll be highlighting 3 popular restaurants typically visited during dinner time, which are Hae Jang Chon, Republique, and Sugarfish. I'd say these restaurants are priced moderate to high, with Republique being the most expensive. So let's start off with Hae Jang Chon. So we actually had to wait quite a bit to eat inside since we didn't make any reservations. But if I'm being honest, I'd say that it was definitely worth the wait. So as I walked in, I was surprised to see that it was very small on the inside, but still charming because of the unique light fixtures and the mahogany wood interiors. And then when we arrived at our table, everything was set up perfectly and it was very organized. They had a pretty wide array of Korean side dishes prepared for us, which were meant to complement the main grilled meats. So this restaurant's located in the heart of Los Angeles, and it's famed for its all-you-can-eat menu and the traditional stone grill experience. And I think this was the first time seeing a Korean barbecue restaurant use a stone grill, because the majority of KBBQ restaurants in Toronto, which is where I'm from, typically use gas or electric grills. So I thought this was really interesting to see for the first time. So since we were all starving, we wanted to choose something that would be quick to cook. So we immediately ordered some servings of the beef briskets. Each piece was thin and tender and was cooked in just a few minutes. And one thing I immediately liked about this place was that the servers here were assisting in cooking and even cutting the meats. So they were very hands-on, whereas the servers in the majority of KBBQ places in Toronto don't do that. They literally just leave you alone and are there to just serve you for the meats. But other than that, they don't stick around. They'll come by every now and then to adjust the grill or to clean the grill, but I have never seen them really be hands-on with the actual cooking. So it was just nice to witness that for once. So you'll actually see the server come back and help us manage the cooking throughout the video. Back to the food, here we are cooking the brisket, and then we also ordered some servings of pork belly. Overall, I'd say that the brisket and pork belly tasted great, but there's no surprise that the pork belly tasted more flavorful and juicy due to its higher fat content, but I still had no complaints with the beef brisket. Next, we ordered some beef short ribs, plus marinated chicken and pork, which also tasted really great. Even though chicken is my favorite go-to meat, I just hate how long it takes to cook on the grill. And an interesting technique they used here involves cleaning the grill with radish or onions. So I learned that this not only cleans the surface, but also adds a subtle flavor to the meats that follow, which enhances the overall taste without overpowering it. Then we finally finished the dinner off with some prime steak and marinated shrimps. So first off, the fact that they even had prime steak there was very surprising, because there aren't really any all-you-can-eat places that offer a huge steak like this. Like most Korean barbecue restaurants in Toronto will only offer slices of ribeye steak, for example. But what was even more surprising was how it tasted. It was probably the juiciest and most tender meat that I've had ever in a Korean barbecue place, at least. So I was very impressed with that. So this dinner costed $43.99 USD. And if it wasn't already obvious, I give this restaurant a huge thumbs up. I think this was my favorite place that I've eaten at in LA, and that's saying a lot. I highly, highly recommend it if you love Korean barbecue, especially if you're planning to visit this area. And the price is honestly not so bad, since the quality was great, especially for an all-you-can-eat place. I can confidently say that I prefer this restaurant a lot more than the typical ones in Toronto. Moving on to the next restaurant, which is Republique. So this is a French-inspired bakery, cafe, bar, and formal dining room located in the mid-city neighborhood of LA. So this ended up being the most expensive restaurant on the list, averaging between like $100 to $200 per person. So we were obviously aware of this, but still decided to visit and see if their food lived up to the hype. So when I first stepped into the restaurant, I was like, this is really nice. But then the host directed us to the bottom floor where the dining area was, and I was honestly stunned by how beautiful it looked. There were multiple levels and it looked very elegant, upscale, and classy. And here are some brief shots of the menu. So fun fact about this day, I think we had eaten burgers just a couple of hours before, so we didn't really have big appetites, which honestly worked out since this restaurant was the most expensive, so we weren't really keen on spending that much money anyways. So we decided to pick a meal from each category, and we split it all since we were told by our server that the portions were large. Although I'll talk more about that later on if that's true. So for appetizers, we ordered a couple of stuff. And the first one I believe was called beignets with mustard aioli. And I probably mispronounced that, but anyways, yeah, this is what it looks like. And I'm trying to remember if there was anything notable about this appetizer. Like, I didn't have any negative comments about it. I did like it, but it was nothing special, if you get what I mean. And then the second appetizer that we ordered actually came later. So the next thing we got was the baguette, called Rodolphe Le Meunier butter, and it came with complimentary soup. So that one came before the first appetizer, but that was fine. And here's what it looks like. And I think I vaguely remember joking around that the baguette tasted better than the first appetizer that we ate, but I think we were just being hyperbolic. But the bread did taste really good though. It was really warm and fresh. And I did enjoy the soup too. So that was a nice bonus. Okay, so this is the next appetizer we got. It's called the bluefin tuna toast with smoked tomato. And I honestly wasn't the biggest fan of this dish. It looks very interesting though, but yeah, after tasting it, it just wasn't for me. And I'm pretty sure the rest of the guys agreed with me on this. What you're seeing now is actually the third course. So this one came before the second course, but again, that's fine. So I believe it was called campanelle with Maine lobster and basil. And I remember feeling pretty underwhelmed with this dish. Like, I understand the portions of these dishes are going to be smaller, but I just expected it to at least have a higher quality taste. And I don't know, I just felt like this one fell short of my expectations, but yeah, what can you do? The second course finally came and we got the wood fire roasted Brussels sprouts and cauliflower. And this came with kumquats labne, madras curry, and dukkha. Okay, so I'm gonna be putting text on the screen to show you guys what all that stuff is. This one tasted really good actually. I was expecting it to be a very basic tasting salad, but it actually tasted really good. This is one of my favorite dishes so far. And then we have one of the main courses. This is the fourth one, and this is called Liberty Duck. So it consists of roasted breast, confit leg, turnips, cherries, and peppercorn sauce. I remember this one tasting really good actually. And I think this was my first time actually eating duck. I've never had it before, so I wanted to try it out. So I was happy that it actually tasted good. So far, my favorite meals were the salad and this duck meal. I actually thought there were more dishes than this, but okay, yeah, I guess the last dish was the duck meal. And then we ended it off with coffee because I think we had to stay up super late that night for some reason, and we were all falling asleep, so we went ahead and tried their coffee, which also tasted good. It was just standard coffee, honestly, nothing special. Here's a cute little postcard that they gave us at the end. So I'm gonna add up the amount that we spent and I'll put it on the side of the screen. But to be honest, I was pretty disappointed. I don't really think that was worth the money. I think the overall experience, I guess, the servers were great. The atmosphere was really nice. I think at the end of the day, you're paying for the atmosphere and the service more so the food, but that's just my opinion. I know there are a ton of 5-star reviews of this restaurant saying that the dishes are perfect and very high quality, but I don't know. I think there are plenty of restaurants out there in LA that have the same quality of foods or higher that cost a lot less. So yeah, that's just my opinion. If it's your first time in LA, I think it could be worth checking out. So now we have the final restaurant, and it's a sushi one called Sugarfish. They actually have over 12 locations in LA alone, which is a lot, but we went to the Hollywood location. Sugarfish is by sushi master Kazunori Nozawa, and he offers a straightforward approach to high quality sushi in Los Angeles. Renowned for its trust me style menu, the restaurant focuses focuses on traditional sushi made with simple, fresh ingredients. So that blurb is straight from their website. And upon arrival, the space was very small, but one thing I really did not like was how dark it was. So because of that, I apologize if the footage of the sushi isn't great. And I unfortunately wasn't able to share the in-person menu because of how dark it was. So I'm just going to show you guys a quick screenshot of the online menu. So we ended up all getting the Nozawa Trust Me, which was $46 USD. And this package comes with 10 dishes. So the first thing is the edamame. That one's pretty standard. I mean, I feel like all edamame tastes the same. So we snacked on that for a little bit. And then the tuna sashimi came in. So I don't know if you guys can properly see this dish. It just kind of looks like red mush, but it also contains ponzu and chives. It tasted all right. I don't think I was like a huge fan of it, but some of you might like it. And then we finally got our actual sushis. So the first few were the albacore sushi, salmon sushi, and the New Zealand sea bream sushi. So I've only had salmon sushi before from like other sushi restaurants, but this was my first time trying the albacore and New Zealand sea bream one. The salmon sushi tasted very standard. It tasted very similar to a lot of Toronto sushi restaurants in my opinion, but I remember not being a huge fan of the New Zealand sea bream. And I think it just comes down to personal taste at the end of the day. And it's honestly hard to explain the taste of like specific fish, you know? All I can say is that it was a very distinct taste from like the salmon sushi and the other sushi, which is called albacore. And another thing I was noticing was that I think this was a common issue with a lot of customers who've had the sushi. There were some instances where the rice would kind of fall apart really easily because I obviously prefer the rice to be stickier. Next, we have the Toro hand roll. I was a fan of this hand roll, but the same issue with the rice was happening again with this hand roll, like the rice was just like falling apart, but the actual taste of it was very good. And then we got the last few sets of sushi, which were the Japanese yellowtail, bluefin otoro sushi, and the harami sushi. I think that's how you say it. So just like the previous set of sushi, there was like one sushi here that kind of tasted weird. So when I say weird, I just mean that I wasn't used to the taste, if that makes sense. Like it kind of caught me off guard, and I think it was the haram sushi or harami sushi, which I believe is the one on the right. It's kind of like a brownish, yellowish color. My memory of tasting the sushi here is a little bit hazy, but I will say that if I can't even remember my reactions to the sushi, that probably means that it wasn't that special. Like I would remember 100% if I ate like the best tasting sushi of my life, and I would tell you guys. And then the last dish was the blue and Dungeness crab hand roll. And it's this one right here. And I'm sorry for how dark the footage is, but yeah, I don't know if you guys can really see that well. And this hand roll also tasted pretty good. I think I preferred the Toro hand roll, but overall both hand rolls were good aside from the rice falling apart. So would I recommend this place? I don't know, like I think if you're a sushi enthusiast and want to try it out, I think it would be worth it. Price wasn't bad, it was $46 for all of that, but I don't know, I think I have a pretty big appetite, especially when it comes to sushi, so this personally did not fill me up. I was hoping it would, but it didn't. Like as you guys can see, the actual sushis weren't that big. It's hard to say if it was really worth the money, but just for the sake of trying it out, I don't regret it. But I know it's a highly praised restaurant. Like some of you may actually really like this place. But so far the sushi here, I mean, it was good. Would I go there again if I was staying longer in LA? No. So that wraps up this video. I hope this was somewhat helpful for you guys if you are currently planning a trip to LA. I'll also link the restaurants, websites, and menu down in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and like for more review/vlog content. And believe it or not, I have more content of LA to share with you guys. It's just taking me a while to compile all of the footage together, but I will definitely be posting them within the next few weeks or so, hopefully. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.